Welcome to Worries Away or Here to Stay with Quay Skin K, where we talk about the most hot-button political issues from a progressive lens. Now, Joe Biden's administration has been praised plenty in the past few months for empowering the NLRB with new legislation that puts the onus on businesses to make a complaint with them if they don't want their workers to unionize. On top of that, the explicit support for the strikes by Biden himself has brought him a lot of praise as well from progressive types. However, does Biden's recent actions with Israel disqualify him? And does this make up for his past legislative history, especially with the crime bill, which souped up the police budgets to be what they are today? Question of the day: why should progressives vote for Biden in 2024? Joined us today, we got Israel Idades and Johnny Blake. How are you guys doing?
Pleasure to be here.
It's a pleasure to be here. Just really cold outside.
Israel Idades and Johnny Blake both worked on the Bernie campaign in 2020 and are poli-sci majors. So that is their credentials, and that's why we felt it was important for them to come on today. So, Israel, we'll start with you. Can you tell us how the Biden administration is turning people away?
Well, I mean, obviously, his avid support for Israel's genocide is pushing people away, and I won't fault anyone for that. Support for Palestine is very popular among young voters. According to Pew Research, 60% of adults between 18 and 29 unfavorably view the Israeli government. If the Biden administration wants to secure the young vote for 2024, he will need to backtrack, and we've seen that. Biden's recent speeches endorses the idea of a ceasefire.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, then can you tell us how, considering all the cons, why are supporters still going to vote for Biden in 2024?
Well, like I mentioned, he is backtracking on his messaging and rhetoric surrounding the Gaza bombings. But it is also worth mentioning that his approvability ratings are still above 55%, which is a good sign, if you ask me. The good Biden's admin has done in the past few months will stick in people's mind more. Now, I get that progressive voters feel stunted on Biden right now, but we need to keep in mind the harm that could come with a Republican presidency, whether it be DeSantis or, more likely, Donald Trump.
All right, moving on to Johnny. Johnny, how's the Biden administration winning in the eyes of the public? What are they doing right, in your opinion?
Well, Biden has clearly caught the eye of the public with his avid union support. Like Israel mentioned, his approvability ratings are above 55%, and it's soared around the Starbucks strikes and the beginning of the writers' strike.
Mm-hmm.
His policy on the NLRB is clearly winning people over, and if he wants continued support, he should probably stay on that path.
Sounds good. For those voting against Biden, what are the main reasons they'll never budge from their opposition?
Well, I'll tell you why, Quay. It's because they still have that ick in their mouth from not only with Israel, but also his legislative past. The crime bill is stuck in people's minds, as it should be. It emboldened police to harass black communities and put gasoline on the fire that was the war on drugs.
Mm-hmm. All right, moving back to Israel. Israel, a lot of critics say that progressives should withhold their votes from the Democratic Party so that they are forced to pass more progressive legislation. How can that be substantiated?
Are you fucking high? No, it wouldn't work. Every time someone brings up this strategy, they never substantiate on it. Should progressives stop voting in elections where the Democrat is a moderate? Great. Now a Republican has gotten their seat. Should progressive senators or representatives withhold their votes until moderates cave to more left-wing demands? Great. Now Republicans have passed a federal law banning abortion. It never works. And I wish that people would temper their expectations just a little bit more.
Sure. Now, Johnny, many people in our audience, including Israel here, are worried about a Republican candidate winning, say Trump or DeSantis. How do you justify withholding votes from Biden when the threat of a Republican winning is very real?
Easy. Biden and the moderate Democrats are basically Republicans. Everyone knows of Biden's union support now, but remember how he broke the railroad strike?
Right.
That was disastrous for those workers.
Yeah.
Democrats and Republicans vote on the same health care, on the military-industrial complex, and on police. We need to have leverage on the Pelosi-like Democrats. We can't just hope for change. We need to grab their balls and make it happen, whether it be at the ballot box or in Congress.
Right. Now, Israel, you talk a lot about hoping for a more progressive candidate, but critics say that allowing 4 years of a Republican to be president increases the possibility of a progressive win by 2028 by making them look good in comparison. Do you think there's merit to this plan?
Kill myself. Sure, there's merit to this idea. If you ignore the possibility that another Republican in office after January 6th could stop any election from happening. I am not denying that there isn't a trend for the incumbent party to lose the election after holding office with their president, but let's not just open the door for a Republican to walk into office, especially with the current state of the Republican Party calling for a trans genocide. I have a partner who is trans. We have real stakes in this sort of thing. If we want to win, we don't do that by giving our opponents a nuke.
Right. I hear you, Israel. Now, Johnny, in the last few years, Republicans have passed legislation in their state that critics call undemocratic. The legislation allows for the electoral delegates to be assigned by the governor if they are deemed quote-unquote suspicious. With this track record, there's a real threat of a Republican president dismantling democracy as we know it. How do you think we should best combat that?
Well, I'd say we combat that by having a stronger Democratic Party. Their moderate stances are unpopular with everyone. Them being this weak makes the Republican Party stronger. Medicare for All polled well with everyone at above 80%. Trans acceptance polls are well above 60%. And the Democrats failed to act on these numbers. We remake the Democrats by withholding their power and replacing them with progressives.
Sounds good. All right. Now, I want to give you guys a little promo. So go see Israel Idadis' podcast, Is This Real? With Israel on YouTube. And then, Johnny Blake, you got a documentary coming out called, what's it called again?
It's called False Democracy, and it's now out on YouTube.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. I entice every single one of our listeners to go check that out. Now, you are listening to Worries Away or Here to Stay. Join us next week when we talk to a historical medium who claims they can channel the ghost of Abraham Lincoln.